And they all went, what? Drag queen goes to bed with Eddie Murphy?
Right.
He's straight. I went, oh, please, give me one more.
Has he been with Eddie?
Murphy? Me?
Yeah. I'm not sorry.
I love my wife, and I'm not gay, and I'm not, and that's what's weird about this, to have your sexuality question and your moral fiber question and all that, when all I was doing was trying to be nice to somebody.
Eddie Murphy tells E.T. that his wife and children were out of town, says he wanted something to read and went to a late-night newsstand. He stopped here and picked up the suspected transsexual at 4:45 in the morning.
Do you believe Eddie Murphy was going to find a book to read at 4 in the morning with his wife gone out overseas? Man. I mean, just from your experience.
Eddie Murphy, that's bullshit. I'm Eddie Murphy. I watch all this movie, man, but man, you don't accidentally pick up a transvestite, you know what I'm saying?
And there's now leaked footage from way back in 1997 that shows Eddie with this woman shortly before she died under some sketchy circumstances.
Eddie Murphy, a Hollywood icon, a comedy legend. But behind the glitz, fame, and blockbuster movies lies a shadowy story that just won't stay buried. Let's rewind to the late 1990s, a time when Murphy's career was under pressure and his personal life was about to be thrown into chaos. On May 2nd, 1997, around 4:45 a.m., Eddie was pulled over by police on Santa Monica Boulevard in Los Angeles. Sitting next to him in the SUV, a 20-year-old trans woman named Shalimar. Police say there was nothing illegal about the stop, and Murphy claimed he was just giving her a ride home. But as the media dug in, things got murky, very murky. Eddie told reporters that his wife and kids were out of town and he simply couldn't sleep. So, he claimed, he went out looking for a book to read at 4 in the morning, on a street known for its late-night activity and trans sex workers. Seriously? A book? To the public, it didn't add up. Eddie insisted that he was being a good Samaritan and had no idea Shalimar was a trans woman.
Says he did nothing wrong. He says he saw this person on the sidewalk looking rather restless. And all he did, he says, was offer them a ride home.
Murphy says he has often stopped to try to help prostitutes, but here is what he said in an impromptu news conference on the set of his new movie.
Being a good Samaritan blew up in my face, basically, what happened. I'm never giving anyone a lift again.
But that one late-night encounter turned into national headlines. Shalimar was arrested on an outstanding warrant. And Eddie? He walked free, and that should have been the end. But it wasn't. As the story spread, rumors exploded. People online began asking questions. Was this really just a misunderstanding, or something much darker? It didn't help that Eddie had been linked to trans women before. One well-known trans actress, Holly Woodlawn, even gave an interview in the early 80s, claiming she had hooked up with Eddie.
Oh yeah, after all these years that I just think. And they all went, what? Drag queen goes to bed with Eddie Murphy?
Right.
He's straight. I went, oh please, give me one more.
Wait a minute. What do you think he was doing? What do you think the situation was? Let me hear your scenario.
Oh, not only Eddie Murphy,
Many others. I know a lot of girls.
That
I know a lot of girls.
What's the other? Eddie Murphy got arrested with a transvestite, transsexual, prostitute. Okay. Goody.
And she wasn't the only one. More and more stories came out, more names, more claims, and Eddie started suing everyone for defamation, from the tabloids to journalists. But here's the twist. Every single one of those lawsuits, they got dropped or quietly settled. Why? Some insiders say Eddie was scared, that if the lawsuits went to trial, even more trans women might come forward. And then, almost exactly a year after the 1997 arrest, tragedy struck. On April 22nd, 1998, Shalimar Suli was found dead outside her apartment in Koreatown, LA. Police claimed she fell from her 5th-floor balcony and ruled it an accident. But friends and family weren't buying it. One neighbor reported hearing a scream right around the time of her death. Shalimar's brother said she had become extremely paranoid in the months after her arrest, convinced someone was following her. Friends said she received threats telling her to stay quiet, and some of those same friends said she was planning to go public with details, not just about Eddie, but about other big-name Hollywood men who paid trans street workers for sex. She'd even spoken to the National Enquirer. She said Eddie's Good Samaritan story was bogus, that he knew exactly who she was and what he was doing. So, was her death really just an accident? Some people believe Eddie, or someone in his circle, wanted to silence her before she could speak. Even more alarming, there were reports of Hollywood fixers being hired, private investigators who tracked down trans women, offering them hush money to take back their claims. Journalist Mark Ebner says,
First of all, how I met my first transgendered person who had claimed she had been with Eddie Murphy in the past was I literally went to a bar that was, I can't remember the name of it, it was on Yucca, just south of Hollywood Boulevard, by that newsstand, the World News, where Eddie had stopped that night.
Yes.
And I sat at the bar. One night goes by, I'm friends with the bartender now, I'm tipping him well, I'm talking to him, and he finally got me to one of the women. And she said, oh yeah, I've been with Eddie. He likes, he has a foot fetish, and also Carnal Candy has been with him, and so and so and so and so. I went and I said, so what's the deal? And she said, well, the deal is that Eddie Murphy's lawyer, Marty Singer, who's in the news these days for other things, basically I told my story to the tabloids, and he paid me $15,000 to change my story. And I said, well, interesting. Okay, can you prove that? This woman kept records, and she handed me a check and her IRS, everything. She had everything, and it was signed by Marty Singer.
Fast forward to now, and this story is bubbling back to the surface. Old clips are being leaked. Testimonies are resurfacing. Even old interviews with trans icons like Octavia Saint Laurent are being shared again.
Our whole world is being run by undercover that run around talking about how straight they are. People are so busy wasting their time bashing when they can be doing something a lot more positive. These are the people you have to worry about.
And here's where the plot thickens even more. Just recently, news broke that Eddie Murphy's daughter, Angel, born to Spice Girl Mel B, is now identifying as a trans man. Angel, now 18, updated his social media bios and shared his transition publicly. Some say it's just a coincidence. Others think it might be part of something bigger. There's a growing theory in Hollywood circles that some celebrities strike dark deals, allowing one of their children to transition in exchange for protection, fame, or to keep scandals hidden. Comedian Cat Williams even suggested this during a recent interview.
That's how you understand what a ritual is. So 20 years ago, I knew that transgenders was going to be a thing. It wasn't because I was a prophet. It's just I had gotten so much information that I understood that things are secular. So I understood that the earliest I had seen that word transgender was Baphomet, the transgender. And so I knew that in the ritual of Baphomet, the transgender, to show allegiance to him, you had to kiss his ass ring.
Really?
And it said both of those things. So I knew that both of those things would become popular in the future.
Is it just a conspiracy? Or could there be some truth buried underneath all this smoke? No matter what side of the story you're on, one thing's clear. The Eddie Murphy story is not just about one traffic stop. It's about power, secrets, silence, and a system that lets some people get away with anything. But what do you think? Was Shalimar's death just a tragic accident, or something more sinister? Did Eddie Murphy really just want to help, or was he hiding something all along? And what do you make of the theory connecting celebrity children and Hollywood deals? Let's talk in the comments down. And if you found this story as eye-opening as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the untold stories of Hollywood.